Hey there. Welcome to the Eurostep, a Milwaukee Bucks podcast, proudly a part of the Blue Wire Podcast Network and GSPN, and presented by our pals at Prize Picks, where you can play $5 today when you download the app and use promo code Eurostep. So with your first play, win or lose, play that $5, you get $50 courtesy of the Eurostep fellas. I am Ty Windisch. The other Eurostep fella is Rohan Katti, my close personal friend. Rohan, happy Tuesday of trade deadline week. How's it going, sir?
Doing well, a little on edge, because anything could just happen, apparently.
Clearly.
Yeah. If you missed our last episode, it's us just reacting to the Bucks' possible involvement in the Luka Doncic trade.
Did you see the report?
Yeah. Which you called
splashed?
it.
Yeah.
You called it. It was all good. The Bucks were apparently that mystery team that were contacted about a Luka Doncic trade for Giannis Antetokounmpo. The Bucks said no. If you want to hear what we thought about that and our decision on that trade, go listen to the last episode. It's also just a fun ride because Ty's just explaining to me in real time what happened because I just kind of missed it.
You're out of the loop slightly, which must be one of the more insane things to come back to.
Yeah, just you wake up and you're like, oh, everything's changed.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But yeah, it's a little on edge, a little nerve-wracking. I feel like it's also a little relieving because nothing's going to come close to touching that in terms of surprise factor, I think.
League-wide, yes.
Most likely for the...
I mean, if we look down at our phones and Khris Middleton is traded, I think... you're right, it won't be as surprising. Because we've seen the reports. We know he's been involved in some iterations of deals the Bucks are looking at. But it won't be as maybe it'll hit closer to home for us, obviously. But it won't be as surprising seeing Luka for AD and a first and Max Christie. That's a good call. It is going to be a little more surprising now, though, because I think we said late on that pod, we got to get off this pod. We never know what else can happen. Soon after we did that pod, the Kings traded De'Aaron Fox to the Spurs. The Bulls traded Zach LaVine to the Kings, and the Bulls got their own pick back. So I say the Middleton thing, I would be relatively surprised if he was moved at this point more than I have been previously. Just because, as we've talked through, we did our on GSPN After Dark on GSPN Premium, we went through, we did a Bucks trade with every single team. It's kind of at this point either Jimmy Butler or Khris and someone else for a collection of better fitting role players. And I just have not seen that kind of a deal that really moves me to this point. The closest I've come is something with the Hawks. But the numbers just don't really add up. If you could send two players and bring back Capella and Hunter, something like that, then it's maybe, but I still wouldn't love it. And I just don't know if the Hawks are interested in doing that either. But anyway, LaVine is off the board. LaVine goes to the Kings in a deal. Well, again, he's not the headline of this. De'Aaron Fox is. But the Bulls back for LaVine basically get bad contracts and Zach Collins and Kevin Huerter. People who want Kevin Huerter, he's been bad. He's been bad all year. He's been bad longer than that. And Zach Collins is just a guy who exists to play center. They got Trey Jones, nice backup point guard. And then they got their own 2025 first back. And I do think the Bucks were in on this. Casey Johnson, I think, reports that the Bucks were involved in this too. And I've seen some people speculate that means, the Bucks didn't make their best offer. They didn't offer their own first. I think even if they did, if you're the Bulls, you might take this instead.
I think so. Being able to control your own destiny.
For 3 years. That's people say, it's a top 10 protected. They're bad. They'll probably keep it. One, win a play-in game, win 2 play-in games, and then you're for sure not keeping it, which I don't think they're going to do, right? But they're in the play-in right now. And 2, it's top 10, then top 8, top 8. And with the way the lottery system works, you have to be extremely bad to feel comfortable about keeping a top 8 protected pick 2 years in a row. And when your plan at this point for them, given the selling that they're doing, is basically, we want to be bad, that's just really uncomfortable. You don't want to rebuild without control of your pick. Because you may say, oh, you're not giving away a top 2 pick, who cares? If you're full rebuild and you would be picking 8 and instead you're just not picking, that's a disaster. There is nothing to sell your fan base on for that going forward. So I know the people have clowned the Bulls. I think it's fair to clown the Bulls. I mean, I think, you're giving up Zach LaVine, you get your own pick. I think in the junk.
Aggregate, just looking at the totality of their deals, it's fair to clown the Bulls. Like you lose DeMar DeRozan and get the pick back that you traded to get DeMar DeRozan.
Correct. For also losing LaVine.
Yes.
You're like getting back to before square one by giving up all of your good players, which is not good.
That's bad. Like the totality of it is not good. But I think this individual trade, I think is fine. I think it's fine. I think it's a little better than what the Bucks could have offered. Maybe the players that they would have gotten would be more valuable, like a Bobby or something like that, or a
Bobby
Khris.
And Khris. I mean, I wouldn't blame them if they didn't want to get into the business of like, okay, now we have to find new homes for these guys. And like, are you getting a first for Khris? Who's playing 23 minutes a game right now?
A good team, I'd say, yeah, like maybe. Bad first. Like OKC would give up a first.
I don't know if they have the salary that they would send for Khris.
I don't think so either.
That's the thing. That's the other. Like, you got to also find $32 million, and same deal with Bob. Like, I just think that I could see Chicago being like, maybe we come out of this with like 2 firsts and 2 seconds or something, but it's not. It's abstract picks. 2031 Bucks pick. It's like, oh, that's a fun asset. If you're trying to get a new team in the next 2 years, is that really helping you? Unless you just flip it somewhere else, like. I just see where they were coming from, and I actually think this was an important trade for them to actually be able to rebuild. So
yeah, think about the Nets like a few years ago, where it's like, oh, you lose out on KD, Harden, Kyrie, but you also don't have the ability to really tank, and they had to make a lot of deals to maneuver to be able to get their own
pick back. Yeah, exactly.
That's what Chicago was able to do. Smaller scale.
It's a net win for the Bulls on just the late, like this post-extension LaVine trade, because the rumor in the summer was, and maybe it's not a win because I think they wanted to do it, but they would just basically have like given him away to the Warriors just to get off the contract. And then he played really well, and that raised the price. And then they got their own pick back. They did have to send away a future pick somewhere else in this deal, which I think is embarrassing. I don't think you should have done that, but whatever.
Yeah. But I think that the Bucks were interested in LaVine is very telling, and I think it's maybe an indicator of what's to come, and also maybe an indicator of what's not to come, because LaVine is no longer an option, and that was probably their best Khris trade option. I think so. I would say so. I mean, Jimmy Butler's still out there. He's no longer the belle of the ball.
Dude, I mean, I think he's super attainable. Again, this is normally the Bucks' dream.
You know who might be attainable?
Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lowe said that on his return show. I think he might have been one of the first people to speak to that. But
yeah, and who was it? Was it Jake Fisher? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's been other. Well, Lowe said it, so that's what's important.
Still burned about I still feel bad about Kelly Ware.
I'm still burned about it.
Yeah.
It's depressing. No, what was I going to say? But Butler, like if Phoenix is, maybe we'll trade KD. Like, I don't know. I don't think you're trading in KD to bring in Jimmy Butler. That just feels stupid. So if the Suns dematerialize as a team in on Jimmy, it's no one. Because he's saying no to everyone else. He said no to the Warriors. He said no to the Grizzlies. Like, he's right there. The Heat just want to be rid of him. He's right there.
Yeah.
You're not getting Ware anymore. I wish we hadn't put that out there now. He's playing way too well, folks.
There's no
Bam and
shot.
Ware is literally their future. Like, maybe more so than Hero even. Like, that front court is their future. They're not trading Ware to get rid of Jimmy. I do wonder, though, like, I don't know if you need to send that 2031 first.
I don't think you do anymore. I really don't. I think the market is completely dried up.
I mean, that's such a low price for a player who's been so good, but who's also older than Khris. And crucially for me, I don't love his fit with Dame and Giannis as much. And I look at the Bucks' problems. I'm not sure he's the answer. Like, I don't think he's like this defensive stalwart game to game anymore. He's 35. Like he is not to me like the perfect solve of like, oh, we need more athletic defenders. He maybe is closer to that than Khris at this point. We also haven't seen him in weeks. He keeps getting suspended because he's pouting. I would understand it. I'm not pounding the table for that though.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like after LaVine's gone, I think LaVine was the best clear upgrade.
Yeah.
I don't know, like I think Jimmy is an upgrade over Khris, but I don't think it's that much of an upgrade where it's worth the risks.
It makes it really hard to get that upgraded big we want to. I mean,
which is needed.
You pretty much have to go with someone who can fit in Connaughton's salary. No, Connaughton's got to go too. So that's the thing. It's not about even like the picks or the assets. It's, take Time Lord off the board unless you're sending out Brook Lopez, which I guess, I mean, the way Brook has looked the last couple of games, maybe that's an appealing option to people. But then, if you want, like, let's say you want Jimmy and Time Lord. Like let's say that's your perfect deadline. You've got to send Khris, Brook, Bobby, and Pat. So you're basically anything else you get is minimums. I mean, you're getting Jimmy, you're getting Time Lord, and you're swapping DeLon Wright or MarJon slightly more than minimum. But you know what I mean? Like you're getting guys who make $2 million and that's it. Outside of those two, maybe say those two are enough. I mean, you got to bring in some other center because of the problem we're seeing right now. I think the Bucks' biggest problem the last week has been we only have two bigs, and they're exhausted by every fourth quarter because we're not playing any other guys as bigs. So it's just difficult. I think it's just difficult to totally reshape the roster when you have to send out 4 to bring back 2.
Yeah, it's not really worth it. It's not. I don't think it's really worth it at all to do something of that magnitude.
I could see it being worthwhile.
I could, like, that's the thing. There is a chance of success there.
Yeah.
But there's also a big chance of failure.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's the Jimmy variable.
That's the thing. Like, it's just risk management.
Have you seen any other Khris trades that you like enough now that LaVine's off the board and we just covered Butler?
No.
Like, I don't want to.
You're going to get mad at me.
We're talking about news. Yeah.
No, you're going to get mad at me for this. You know who's not small?
Who? I know.
Jeremy Grant.
No. Same thing as Kuzma. Like, what are we doing?
Like, he's not good.
Yeah, I just don't. It's like, oh, they need to get more athletic. It doesn't matter if the player's bad. Yes, it does.
It does matter.
What are you talking about? Of course it does. Do you think there's no other 6'8" athletes in the NBA that you can get?
I mean, apparently not.
Just play Tyler Smith. We're going to talk about the young guys later. It's the name of this pod. I forgot to mention it up top. We're going to rank the young guys based on how they looked versus OKC for helping the Bucks the rest of the way going forward. We're going to do that still, but we had to cover the trade.
We have to cover the news. The news.
Yeah.
Also, one more thing about the Zach LaVine trade that we forgot to mention.
What?
Torrey Craig is now a free agent.
Yeah, it's just how many roster spots are we planning on opening to fill? You need Rollins.
Yep.
I mean, what about TA?
Yeah, TA's back. He's big.
Might be able to help more than CL.
He'll play point center.
Yeah. Craig would be a great fit on a Vetman. I think the Bulls were trying to find someone to just take those contracts in, and they really couldn't. So I don't think people are beating down the door for those guys. But I think the Lakers make a ton of sense. I would be surprised if the Bucks got Craig. I mean, because one, they don't even have a roster spot right now. And two, let's say today, okay, we found someone to take DeLon and send us nothing. So we got the roster spot. Even ignoring the Rollins thing, which we need a spot for Rollins eventually, I think. Does Torrey Craig, usually all the money's the same, right? It's prorated vet min, so that's not a factor. Do I want to go to Milwaukee and be fighting to be the 9th man, or do I want to go for a team who maybe needs me more? So unless they make, all right, we trade for Jimmy Butler today and we're sending out 3 rotation players for 1, then maybe he's like, yeah, okay, I can, there's some big opportunity here. But otherwise, if I'm him, I'm looking at some team like the Lakers. They could use a 3-and-D player and more defense around Luka. They just sent out Max Christie.
Anyone who's above 6'6".
Yeah, and who, yeah, Well, I thought you were saying anyone who's above the 6th seed for Craig, but pretty much like anyone who's a solid team who has like a real role to offer him. I think that's a bigger consideration than people realize with buyout guys. It's like the right fit.
Yeah.
The Bucks pitch to a buyout guy right now is bad.
It's not good.
Unless you're maybe a center. If you're a center, maybe
if you're a center, you're like, hey, you might be playing 20 minutes a game.
Yeah. But if you're Torrey Craig, it's like, okay, I'm battling. Even put like the stars aside, Prince, Trent, AJ Green are all playing this like 2 through 4, 3-4. Other guys too. I'm like Chris.
I mean, it's really just it's like Chris, Prince, and Bobby, right?
I mean, Giannis is playing a lot. I mean, I know I said put the stars aside, but just total minutes, he's playing a lot at the 4-5 too.
Yeah, I know. I think Craig is more of a 3-4 than a 4-5, but.
Yeah, he's not playing 5. You're right.
So that's why I'm saying, like,
so Chris, Giannis, Green, Trent, Prince.
Trent's not playing the 4.
You said 3-4.
That's true. I did say that.
He's probably a quasi 3 sometimes.
Yep, he's a 2-3. Yep. Yeah, you got me there.
Just a lot of guys there. I don't think they're going to clear out enough of them. I saw an interesting somebody I saw on Twitter. I didn't see who did it. Sorry, not credit. A 3-way deal where the Bucks send out Trent and bring back in Gershon Yabusele.
Oh, yeah.
That's an interesting... Gershon playing really well. Speaking of a 4-5.
Yeah, I just wish he could space the floor.
Yeah. I think it was Trent going to Orlando to help with their shot making, and then Orlando sends something and Yabu comes to the Bucks.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah, all the Sixers guys seem to be available. Paul George may be available, and the Bucks aren't going to get Paul George, but
the Warriors called about Paul George, I think.
The Warriors are calling about everyone.
The Warriors are Anthony Edwards in the Gatorade.
What do you mean?
Oh, have you never seen that video?
I've seen a commercial.
No. It's a video of him post game. This is like 2 years ago, where he's always looking like he's going to drink the Gatorade, but he never does.
Yeah. Or like was it Melo who like stood up and pump faked but didn't actually take the shot when he was courtside? Yeah, 100% they are.
But you don't know. You don't like Jeremy Grant?
No, she's not good enough at basketball.
But you get Time Lord too.
Yeah, I mean that's intriguing. I just think you're for sure also sending out the first in that deal because the Blazers don't give a damn about Chris and Bob. Clearly.
Yeah, that's true.
So
maybe it's a goodwill gesture for Dame.
I think that not enough goodwill left with them and Dame based on how they play against him every damn time.
I know, right?
I think they feel like they did all the goodwill they could. They send him to a contender and they're done. But I was looking to try and find like a surprise big trade. It's amazing how many guys have been out for like months. You want to make the big Herb Jones trade? Hasn't played. Probably isn't going to play for a while. We talked about Jabari Smith Jr., like turned down surgery for an injury he's got, which is going to make the rehab longer. He's been out for a while. Brandon Ingram has not played with an ankle injury for like 2 months. Like, I just don't think any players like that are going to be guys the Bucks target. Right or wrong, I think they want someone who can help them now is the important part. Later is like kind of the optionality part.
Yeah. It's been a weird injury season. I feel like everyone's been
a lot of them. I feel like it's been less of the superstars, at least with the real serious ones, but a lot of like good role players have been out and hurt.
Yeah. Can you get
Jaden McDaniels makes $17K too much to trade Brook Lopez for him. No, you can't get Anthony Davis. He's valued way too much.
I mean, hey, if they realize they need more offense, like, hey, Khris Middleton's a bucket.
I wonder if they would ever consider Bobby for Gaff now.
They might, honestly.
I mean, Bob is a better fit with AD, but is not really playing the 5, which I think they do want next to AD, so I don't think they would.
I mean, eventually Lively's coming back.
Yeah, I mean, they're playing for right now. They're 9. They need to be good now because if they're not good the next 2 years, they're done. Apparently they want shot making and the Lakers want bigs, but no update on what either team is going to do quite yet.
Hey, Bob's a shot maker.
And a big.
Yeah, and a
bidding war. Sounds like a bidding war to me.
Someone threw in LeBron.
Yeah. Hope all is well with Bob. He was doubtful for the OKC game. I don't think he was not there.
No.
But hopefully he can play. Is Charlotte or Atlanta first? I know they play
Charlotte.
Wednesday, Friday, Charlotte, and then in Atlanta. Hopefully he's able to play this Charlotte game. I mean, again, it's an awkward situation because we're going to keep talking about trades with him, but hope everything is well. I mean, I know some people are getting fed up with his absence. It's something really serious. It's something extremely serious in his person. I don't know what it is. I'm not, speaking like I know.
He's missed 6 games. It's very serious.
Yeah, I mean, is the trade talk getting to him? No, he's been in trade talk every year of his career. That is nothing compared to what's happening in his life.
He's a real human being with real human being problems.
Yeah, I think his privacy should be respected. I think if it wasn't something very bad, he wouldn't be gone. He's literally been an Iron Man who's played through everything going on in his life. So I think it's something bad. And the Bucks clearly really miss him on the court. Yeah.
Wishing all the best to Bob and his family.
Yeah, 100%. I think respecting it. It reminds me of the Wiggins situation. I hope it doesn't take this turn where people are like trying to be internet sleuths and they thought something salacious was going on and it was just a family tragedy. And that's disrespectful. I'm pretty sure that's what's going on here too. And I just think we should leave well enough alone. Yes. But hopefully Bob is able to feel right and everything is okay enough. I'm sure it's not great and able to make a return soon. I'm sure, a lot of people, sometimes nice to kind of jump back into doing something and getting your mind off whatever's going on. But obviously he's entitled to and should take all the time he needs. Mm-hmm. Is there any other news before we talk about the young guys? Oh, God, yeah. Jake Fisher on Mark Stein's Substack reported that the Bucks have, shifted away from, was this pre-LaVine trade? Was it shifted away from LaVine?
I think
Butler.
So.
No, it was Butler. It's Butler. Because I don't know. I kind of feel like we've heard conflicting reporting on if Jimmy told the Bucks yes or no yet. KOC said no, and then someone else said yes later.
It was Amick who said that they haven't said no. Or Jimmy hasn't said no to the Bucks.
I don't know if we're...
I'm going to take Amick over KOC.
I am too. I don't know if we're at coin flip yes or no it happens anymore. I would put the Bucks as the leader in the clubhouse for a Jimmy trade right now, though.
I mean, he kind of has to, especially with Bradley Beal saying he doesn't want to be traded.
I mean, no one wants him either, so that works. That's a convenient thing to say, Bradley Beal. Yeah.
No one's taking him. The Bucks are not going to be there's no Beal to Chicago, LaVine to Milwaukee trade anymore. That's not a thing.
That construction is over.
The Bucks should not be taking Bradley Beal.
No. I don't. The Phoenix thing is so weird to me. This KD smoke becoming like, are you really going to send out KD and bring back Butler? Like that feels like, what is it, cutting off your nose to spite your face? Like, we did it. What did it cost? Everything. More than it was worth, clearly. I mean, I don't know what's going on there. I don't think they're going to find a Beal team, so I don't think they're going to get Jimmy Butler.
It's like the opposite of the Bene Gesserit, where it's like our plan is measured in centuries, but it's like our plans should be measured in centuries, but aren't, and that's the Phoenix Suns.
Their plans are measured in...
Do you understand that reference?
No. Their plans are measured... No, I figured it was Dune. I have not seen Dune.
Ty.
I'll get to it. It's been a busy time. It's been a busy time.
I know.
Oh, their plans are measured in second round pick mortgage swaps. That's what the Suns planned. But I don't see another team that makes more sense for Butler than the Bucks if they're in on it, which I think they probably more are post LaVine trade.
Yeah, I think they are. I mean, because like we were just saying, LaVine was the best option for a Khris trade.
Yeah.
Butler's the second best.
I think so. That I've seen so far.
I mean, I can't think
even if like Ingram was healthy, I probably would take Butler. I'm just not sure he's that helpful.
I'd take Khris over Ingram.
Oh yeah, I would too. And again, considering he's literally not healthy, you're not getting that much more. Limited Khris is better than Ingram not playing at all for sure. So.
Yeah.
I guess Khris for like Wiggins. And what if you could do like a big trade where you get like Wiggins and Time Lord?
But what does Wiggins do for you?
It's just like a two-way guy, an okay two-way guy. I know that's my thing with all these guys, including Kuzma, which we should get back to Kuzma. Like, what do you think Kuzma does well? And if your answer involves for the Lakers in 2020, I don't care anymore because that was 5 damn years ago. What are we doing? You know who was good on that team? Danny Green, Avery Bradley. Let's call them up. If that's how we're picking players on the Bucks. That's what Nico Harrison did. Let's call up Danny
Maybe
Green
that's
and
why-
get him at the deadline.
Maybe that's why the Bucks are interested in Kuz, because of Rondo.
Maybe. I don't know. They also dumped him 1 year after that, so they clearly didn't love him that much, and he was a bit player on the team. Situation matters. They've been on a bad team, the Wizards. It's been 4 years. You look at this Bucks team and see the way they lack energy, and you think, oh, let's get a guy who hasn't tried in 4 years because the vibe wasn't right. No, that's the last kind of player they should target. He's shooting 28% from three. He's never in his career at an athletic 6'9" averaged 1 steal or 1 block per game in any season. Ever. His career. 1 steal or 1 block. I know that doesn't say you're a good or bad defender. It does say, though, like you're not bringing any splash plays defensively. He's just a guy who's out there airballing shots. No.
The Bucks have already enough players who will do that.
Also, we look at like the Grant thing. At least the Grant thing. Okay, can you get Time Lord too? You get 2 guys you like. Washington's roster sucks. Sucks ass. I'll sorry tie myself. I don't want another player from that roster. I don't think you're getting Kispert. You're not getting Kispert. Bilal Coulibaly is okay, he might be good in 2 years. That doesn't help me now.
Oh, you're not getting Bilal.
I know you're not getting Bilal either. Because again, the Wizards, I really think if they trade Khris, it's not going to be a rebuilding team. It's going to be another team who's kind of wants to be like Miami. Like they want to be good now too. It's going to be like make the fit better or something. Because what is the value for Washington in getting Khris? They're the worst team in the league. They're one of the worst team in the league. They're either if they feel like they can reroute him, that's about it. So, or just getting off the Kuzma contract because he sucks.
Yeah.
Are the same people wanting Jordan Poole? At least Jordan Poole's from Milwaukee and helped on a title more recently.
Jordan Poole's been having a better season than Kuz.
Way better. I mean, he's a terrible fit with Dame. They shouldn't get Jordan Poole either.
Please do not do Jordan Poole.
But I just don't get this. Like, he was on a title team once, a full presidential term ago, so he's worth getting now.
Hey, I mean, the Bucks, if any team should know that guys can be washed, it's the Bucks. Because they chase the same guys every year, and it doesn't work.
Yeah, and that's probably why, I think some people are interested in Kuz because he's not as old. I mean, he's probably, is he even 30?
Is he?
He came in the league old.
Yeah, that's true.
He might be like 29, 30 now, actually.
He is 29.
Yeah. So you're not getting that. He's not a total spring chicken. I just don't think he's good enough. The big-bodied forward who doesn't defend and doesn't shoot, like you're basically praying he has the same random turnaround that Rui had.
Yeah, I guess. Kyle Kuzma is shooting 42% from the field, 28% from 3, 49% on 2s.
Yeah.
It's not the best thing I've ever seen.
If you're averaging
2.3 turnovers to 2.5 assists.
If you're going to take a bet on a player like that, yeah, it's basically a flat assist to turnover. Like I'm not giving up Khris Middleton to take that bet.
No. You shouldn't.
Like I can go to a random team and find a wing player who I would rather take a swing on for cheaper. Like I would rather your guy Chris Boucher. Give me Chris Boucher for Bob.
My guy Chris Boucher.
Because you don't like him. Or give me Davion Mitchell for Pat and a second. Or Ochai Agbaji, who makes $4 million a year. Like I'll give up a second round or some sort of picks. Yeah, like I'd rather give me someone who's not making what is Kuz, $30 million?
I think so.
Or 20-some million, because it sheds you some cap too, I think, if you trade. $23 million. Just over Brook.
Yeah. He's under contract for another 2 seasons. Declining.
So I guess you could send Bob and then Pat into a trade exception in the deal.
You made
not Bob. Sorry, not Bob. Brook and a trade. But it's again Brook has looked terrible. I don't know what replacing him with Kyle Kuzma does for your basketball team.
Yeah, you get worse at big. You don't.
Yeah,
you don't have a center.
He's not playing 5.
Don't have a center on your roster.
He's not playing 5. I'll tell you that.
So just weird news.
Yeah, I don't know what to think about that one. I
guess KD is another Khris option.
I just assume why? Why are they?
That's
he's probably not. He's probably not though. I mean, would both teams have to duck the second apron and then make the trade with each other? Like, that's the problem with 2 second apron teams. It gets a little fantastical quickly on what it would take to put something like that together.
Yeah.
KD makes more than either Dame nor Giannis. So yeah, it's Milwaukee, and one of the teams would have to send out. So Milwaukee sends Pat to Washington and sends what, like Chris and Bob?
Yeah.
Phoenix says, okay, great. Our team is Booker, Beal, Middleton, Bob. I mean, Jesus Christ. I don't think Bud's going to make it through the rest of the season.
That's a worse version of the Bucks.
Yeah, it's a way worse version of the Bucks. What if instead of Dame and Giannis, we had Booker and Beal? Even if you could somehow make the Jimmy trade happen, it's like, all right, we're ancient and worse.
I think Bud retires.
Bud comes back to coach the Bucks again with Doc.
Yeah, co-head coaching.
Like Doge.
Oh, God.
I'm not doing that anymore. Anyway. All right. I think any other trade talk, I mean, if they get Kuzma, I called it a Beal level disaster. I really think it would be. I just don't think
it's as bad as that. Purely because of the contracts.
Sure, but
I mean, it's $30-40 million differences.
Yeah, but you're giving up Chris either way, and I just think for like Beal at least has still been like a good NBA scoring player. I don't think he makes any sense on this team. But he's still 18, 4-4.
I think the upside of Kuz is better than the upside of Beal.
On this team?
On this team.
Maybe.
And the contract is way more palatable.
Yeah, I think if you blow the Chris trade, I don't know if the long-term asset management matters anymore.
No, I don't think it does either. Just to be clear, I don't think it's a good idea. Yeah. I want that to be very clear. I still think Beal is a worse outcome.
That's fair. I just say on par because I think you messed this up this bad and you're kind of stuck.
Yeah, it might just be binary, like bad is bad.
Yeah, that's where I'm coming from. Like obviously the Beal no trade makes it so bad, but like in a vacuum, I would rather have Beal on my team than Kuzma, not looking at the rest of the roster.
Yeah, no, I get it.
All right, we're going to talk about the young guys. Not as optimistic as we hoped, but one thing I'm always optimistic about is Prize Picks, the #1 daily fantasy sports app where you can 1,000 times your cash. And all you have to do is pick more or less on at least 2 players. You can run your game all season long on Prize Picks. We're obviously talking a lot of basketball on this show, but folks, it's the big game this weekend. Media Week's going on. You got to be excited about the big game. So make sure to tune in for this final week of being able to do Prize Picks about football for this season. Obviously, they'll be back, fall, but fall's a long time from now. We'll have a lot of basketball. We'll have baseball between now and then. We've got hockey going on as well. We got everything. Rohan covered last time. We got a bunch of esports. You can play anything on Prize Picks. The best place to get real money sports action in more than 30 states. I think we're creeping up on 40 states. California, Texas, Georgia, Florida, Wisconsin, of course, the #1 state, in a lot of metrics out there. Prize Picks puts their members first. All the withdrawals, fast, safe, secure. When my picks hit, I can get my money in as quick as 15 minutes. So sign up today, folks, to get 1,000 times your money with Prize Picks. You get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win. You play $5 for the first time with code Eurostep or the link in our description. You get $50. You can keep on playing. I am looking at Giannis Antetokounmpo, PRA. I think, points, rebounds, assists. He had this weird quote about, Europeans on the big markets and everything. I don't even know how much Giannis anticipated that picking up, but I feel like he's going to want to come out here, get the Bucks back on track this week and just dominate. So that's what I'm looking at on Prize Picks. Download the app today to join me. Use code Eurostep. Get $50 when you play your first $5 lineup. That is promo code Eurostep on the Prize Picks app today to get those $50. Prize Picks, run your game. Okay. The young guys. Did I miss any trade stuff?
Released?
No.
They announced they look good.
Big time for Asia. Just got her jersey, which, by the way, great honor that Asia Wilson got her jersey retired. No issue with that. What is the order of operations when you put up a statue for someone before you retire their jersey?
It's crazy.
It's an odd order of operations. Again, I have no issue. Asia deserves both. How is that how do you build a statue before it's college? She's not coming back. It's not like you have to worry about she's going to come back to your team someday.
Doesn't have any eligibility, I don't think.
I mean, probably not. In women's college, you actually have to play 3 years. It's just I was like, wait, they didn't retire her jersey before? Good for her. And Caitlin Clark got hers retired too, same day. Great time for women's basketball. The offseason is heating up. And listen, if the Bucks keep looking like this, it's going to be welcome to the Eurostep and Indiana Fever podcast because they are crushing this offseason. I'm so excited for Fever season.
It's going to be interesting for sure.
Soft launching this now.
we're just on the Fever beat.
I mean, we're gonna get Tony East on here, Fever cover for down there in Indiana, host of Lockdown Pacers, one of the rare great non-Blue Wire pods out there. We love setting the pace too, which is on Blue Wire. But Tony, I know, is there on boots on the ground covering the Fever as well, and I think they're crushing this offseason. Anyway, we'll talk Bucks, young Bucks. I was kind of excited when we got the tank game announced for OKC. Mostly because the Bucks have looked like they've clearly needed it, and then partially because we'd get to watch all the young guys. And it's a little unfortunate because, I mean, they played Gary Trent, they played Taurean Prince, they played Pat Connaughton. Those guys help a little, but it's almost like Summer League where these are not the context these players should be in. So like Rollins is struggling a little bit, and it's like, yeah, I mean, he's not like first option on a team playing the best defense in the league on the road level player. You know, you want to see him out there with better players. So it was not a good context for most of the young Bucks, but we got to see them play against an elite team. And now we're going to rank them based on how much we think they can help the big league Bucks the rest of the way, just based on this game. And we're excluding AJ Green. He played okay, not great, but you know, he didn't even go to Summer League. He's going to help regardless.
Is he even a young guy?
I mean, he's on his first post two-way contract.
Yeah, but he's like Trent's age.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a fresh cut now.
He does. He looks good.
Yeah. Do you want to start at the top or at the bottom?
Say that again?
Sorry. I said, do you want to start at the top or the bottom of the list?
Oh, I thought you wanted to talk about his hair. I was like, I don't know. I know I'm not that much of like a fashion guy.
I am not either.
Let's start at the top. Let's start
at the top because it's less interesting.
So we got 6 guys, by the way, that we're talking about.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert. My first guy is a guy who currently starts for the Milwaukee Bucks, and that's Andre Jackson Jr.
I agree.
Even in this game against the Thunder, he didn't necessarily look. It kind of looked like Summer League for a little bit because we saw him in Summer League this year, but he looked more polished than Summer League, which is great. That is great. You can see how much he's matured even as this season goes on. He even in this last week or so, he's become like a more polished offensive player. He's breaking Shea's ankles and throwing down in transition, and I'm like,
yeah,
who is this?
That's the offensive utility to me was very clear, and that's what excited me the most about his game. Is that I worried it would look more like Summer League, where it just felt like he wasn't able to accomplish much generally, especially offensively in Summer League, unless he was like catching a lob or something. Ajax in 22 minutes, they kept everyone's minutes pretty limited, except AJ Johnson, who ended up getting a bunch in the second half. We'll talk about him. But 4 for 8 from the field, so 50% from the field, 1 for 2 from deep, 50% there too. Unfortunately, also 50% from free throw, but only 1 for 2. You know, you miss a free throw sometimes. Not bad. 4 rebounds, 3 of them offensive. There weren't a lot of defensive rebounds to go around because Oklahoma City shots were just going in. So that kind of explains the rebounding stat there. 2 assists, 2 steals, 1 block, 1 turnover, which again, not bad. Not bad. They were down some good players, but on the road, second night of a back-to-back against the best defense, the best team in the league right now, 1 turnover in 22 and a half minutes, doing more with the ball is very fine. And only 1 foul. Got to double figures, 10 points on the game. Didn't play ton late in this one. I was just really impressed. He made plays defensively. He made plays offensively, even without, I think we're so used to seeing him. Okay, he makes a play when he's wide open because the other team is so worried about Giannis and Dame. He was able to do it without a bunch of space. He was able to find his spots and just go and try to get to the basket. His threes were confident and in rhythm. I was really impressed with Ajax's game. I think it shows, to your point, like how far he's come just this season.
Yeah, just this season and how much he's really thrived. There's an argument to whether he's a good starter or not. There's an argument whether his spot in the rotation, like whether it should shrink, whether it should increase. Like there's arguments both ways. But one thing I think is undeniable is that he is a member of this rotation and should be.
Yeah, 100%. So, and then I think, again, no surprise, number 2 is the guy we've been talking about. I also had Ajax 1. Number 2, the guy we've been talking about the Bucks opening a roster spot for all season, basically, Ryan Rollins. I'm guessing you had Rollins 2 as well.
Mm-hmm.
So the 2 of these 6 players who are actually in the rotation. Rollins with a bad start in this game. Not a good first half. I don't know if he was pressing or if just the OKC defense got to him, but ends with a career high, 16 points, 2 steals, 1 assist, 1 block. Did have 3 turnovers. I would want to say 2 of them probably came early, and then he had a great second half, including I think 12-point third quarter, where he was really able to pour it in on OKC a little bit. Nothing groundbreaking here, but nice to just see Rollins, who there have been more games recently where it just seems like he's out of sorts or out of rhythm, and nice to see him start that way, but then like fight through it and make it so the Bucks, they end up with almost 100 points, where I think if Rollins stayed like he looked in the first half, they might have scored like 76 points in this game.
Yeah, he took control. He found it eventually. Like you were saying up top, this is not the best environment for a guy like Ryan Rollins. He's not suited to be a lead guard, just completely dominating an offense. Like that's not what he's suited or not what he's best at, and not what he's going to be doing on this Bucks team. Like he's going to be playing like 10, 15 minutes a night. He's going to be like handling those responsibilities when Dame's off the court. And even then, hopefully there's Giannis out there. So you got to give it to him. Can you bring the ball up the court, Ryan Rollins? Can you do that? If you can do that really well, you're solid and you're set. And I think he can. And he's shown that he's overqualified to do that.
Yeah, I agree. So I thought, and defensively, solid. Some on-ball lapses for almost everyone. The first half, Shea just got whatever. I know it's Shea, but he got whatever he wanted. And even Ajax, who guarded him so well in the NBA Cup, like Shea got him to guess wrong once on which direction he was going, and just left Ajax in Tulsa, and Shea threw down the dunk in Oklahoma City. There was some pretty bad. You wanted more defensive possessions, I think, in this game, given these are supposed to be the defenders, the young guys, but kind of showed that I think none of these are, all defense level players quite yet, to say the least.
Yeah. So Shea's probably MVP.
Yeah, I started 9 for 11. He got his 30. I was kind of like, I'm surprised he's still in the second half. Then I realized, you're going for a scoring title. You got to get your 34 if you're going to play in the game at all. So that makes sense.
Yeah. You think Giannis has a chance to get that scoring title?
A chance, yeah, the scoring title. Yeah, I think MVP's probably over now.
Yeah, MVP's over. I think it's Shea.
Yeah, they're the best team. He's been awesome, and this Bucks slide. It's just you're 5th right now in the East. It's just hard to build an MVP, and it's not Giannis's fault, but it's just hard to build an MVP case.
Yeah, I'm happy with Shea.
Yeah, it's a little unethical sometimes.
Sometimes.
Yeah, it wasn't terrible in this game.
No, he was.
Which I appreciated. I appreciated that he didn't. He got some free throws, but I thought he probably earned them.
Yeah, 100%.
Wasn't total flopping.
Here's where it gets interesting. Let's before.
I think I'm going to shock you here.
Before we say that, I think that's the clear first tier.
Yeah, I think those are the only 2 players who look like they belong in their rotation, which is unfortunate because they already are. So they didn't need to gain ground. I guess
it's good. It's good.
Yeah, it's good they weren't terrible.
You rose above.
But we hoped there would be players here who, that clearly that guy deserves to play more. And I think at most there was 1. At most. And not the one I had been calling for.
Yeah. So who's number 3 on your list? I'll go first.
Okay.
That's Tyler Smith.
I got MarJon Beauchamp.
Okay. Let's go you first.
Listen, the funny thing about MarJon was 2 for 7. Shot didn't look good. But I will say, and Marcus Johnson pointed this out, was looking to play make, ended up co-leading the Bucks with 4 assists. also had 6 rebounds, also had 1 steal, no turnovers. MarJon didn't, I mean, the passing was nice. Other than the passing, he hasn't shown me anything I haven't seen from him before. Still some like bad decisions, start-stop stuff. But it's like his toe is
always on the line.
Yeah, he took a lot of long twos. He took 7 shots. I think he meant to take like 6 threes. He took 2 threes total. That was a problem. But he's still like a good-ish defensive wing who is athletic and who will take threes and maybe they go in. Again, 1 for 2, but missed a lot of long twos in the game, to your point. And I'm just like, I think there's a floor here that's safe. And I think that's why he's the one who's gotten, like when guys have been hurt, he has gotten run over these other young players we're going to talk about. Because it's like, all right, like, you know, he knows where to stand even if he doesn't know what to do. And he's a solid enough defender. Like, I thought he showed me more of that. And I didn't think anyone showed me more than that necessarily.
Yeah, maybe I'm being too harsh because I had higher expectations for him. This is like
you're always harsh on your own kids.
Yeah, exactly. Like this is years long. I had him last.
Wow. Yeah, I can't get there with you.
Maybe that's too harsh.
Yeah, I'm just looking at who could help more based on what I saw the rest of this year. I saw the same from him.
My thing is like the upside, right? I can see so much upside with all these other guys. Yeah, I just don't see it with him. I really don't.
I think he can get better. He's got to go somewhere else.
That's the thing. But here's the thing. You're right. Like he is like probably the most NBA ready out of the bunch.
I mean, he's played like over 1,000 NBA minutes, and you know he's just been a guy out there. He's never taken that step, but he wasn't like
hasn't played with colossal the Herd this season.
No, he wasn't like a colossal failure in his 1,000 or however many NBA minutes. He's just a guy.
Yeah, he's just never really rose above what we thought he could be.
Yeah,
or never really rose above what he is into what we think he could have been.
You know, like a fighting for 10th man right now.
Yeah, maybe last is harsh.
I mean, I don't think there's a ton of separation between 3 and 6.
I'll keep it for now just to keep my list. Yeah. But I'm not like now that you say I see the vision a little bit. It's just a lot of the ISO scoring is kind of just weird to me. Like I don't see how that would translate to him being on this team.
We know it doesn't.
That's the thing, right?
We know it doesn't.
Like
the
all
playmaking was nice.
That is good. That is really good. Like that's something the Bucks could use in terms of like, hey, if you catch the ball on the wing, can you attack a closeout and like pass out? Because apparently no one on the Bucks can do that, and hasn't for like 4 years. It's crazy.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Ajax, help take notes.
Yeah, honestly, he's been the best at that in the last like 4 or 5 years for the Bucks. That's not a star.
Yeah, not Khris or better.
Yeah, and I don't know. I just don't see how his fit with the actual team could like there could be a lot of upside with it.
I don't think there is. It says more to me about there were exciting moments. I think for the other 3 players, none of them screamed to me, oh, he's ready to be in the NBA rotation. And again, I wouldn't be excited if we got MarJon every game, but like I would get it if he played over Pat. I wouldn't be apoplectic about that. You know what I mean? Like, so that's where I'm coming from. It is like, I feel more confident that you could plug in MarJon and get like decent results than the other 3 guys. Maybe even this year they could give you better results some nights. I think on the average night though, MarJon is just safer.
No, that's fair. Here's why I said
you had Smith 3rd. I had him 4th, by the way. So I'm not far off, and our guy CL is not top 3 on either of our lists, not top 4 on my list.
Not top 4 on mine either.
Yeah.
Tyler Smith, the biggest thing going for him, he's big.
Yeah. It's nice.
That's the thing, right? I jokingly say this every pod, but you can't teach size. But you can't. You can't teach size. Is he an actual big in terms of play style? No. Like, at least not yet. Right?
Yeah.
Like, he's not there yet. He still needs to he needs to put on some weight. He needs to get, maybe not even put on weight. He needs to get stronger. Even though Marcus Johnson rightly pointed out on the broadcast, he does look like he's playing stronger than he did in Summer League or preseason.
He looks more poised out there, and that's why I had him 4th than most of these young guys.
He looked like he belonged on an NBA court.
He calls out stuff defensively more than most Bucks players.
Yeah.
He's a talker. You watch him close on I don't know if he knows what he's talking about yet, but and it's a good habit. It's really important for bigs. He's talking. Like, I remember, I think it was Sam Vecini when he got picked, was like, he's got the rap. It's just like a bad defender. I don't think it's on him, though. Like, I think he's a great kid. He wants to learn, but the Ignite was a mess. That's what's bearing out right now. Like, it seems like he's really trying to work on that. And I will say his rebounding continues to impress me. More boards than CL in this game.
Yeah.
Basically the same minutes.
It's just you're bigger and you're also like playing more. I don't even know if he's playing more physical than CL, because CL will play physical.
CL's physical, but
that's a strong dude.
That's an ox. He's the strongest of these six for sure. Smith is bigger and more athletic though.
Yes.
Like springier. I mean, CL can get up and dunk or block, but it's a line drive athleticism. Smith, I think, has more lateral
Smith's
quickness.
Also, he's got shooting gravity.
Yeah, he does. I mean, the percentage just has to get better at some point, and that's why we gave him an upstock. He was 4 for 15 from the field and 3 for 10 of 3, which is not ideal. But
to be fair, he did go up to 4 in this stop.
Yeah, it's not a high bar, but 7 boards. He had one more board than CL. 7 rebounds, 3 assists. Had a couple of passes. I was like, okay.
He had a great pass where he was on the elbow and he just hit a cutting Gary Trent for a basket.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
beautiful.
Oh, so you see that? That's good.
Yeah.
It's really good that you see that.
Really good. 2 steals for him as well. Did have 3 turnovers. I thought outside of just the shots not going in, my biggest knock on him was you gotta learn how to have the ball under the basket if you're gonna be even sort of a big. And it felt like every time the Bucks, like Delon Wright, who we had to watch play, or anyone would like penetrate and try to dump it off to him.
Forgot he was on the roster.
I mean, I don't know. They just needed enough guys to play, but God, it was depressing. 0 for 4.
We gave him a downstock.
0 for 4. He had 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, 1 block. Could not make a single shot.
Maybe we were too harsh on the downstock.
I mean, probably. It is unfair. He's such a disappointment, though.
To be fair, he was at 12. So bring him down.
That's way too high. Yeah, that's way too high.
He's like double Pat.
Yeah, that's not right. Pat played way better than him in this game. Here's a take quick before we get back to Smith. I'm starting to think they could maybe just give Pat away for free.
I think they could. You don't have to attach an asset. No,
he's playing well right now. I think you talk about teams. Orlando needs Dallas wants someone. Like I jokingly posted, like, oh, Dallas, they need shot making or shot creation. He's doing it, man.
Yeah.
He's a good driver, good passer. The shot's falling too. 1 for 1 and 3, has been making his threes the last couple of weeks.
Maybe that was a Cuban thing though, because it's like new ownership. You send out Luka. Maybe they're not.
Yeah, they sent out Luka and Maxey.
Yeah, maybe they're not a Pat destination anymore.
They could still use him. I mean, he could do numbers in Dallas.
Oh yeah.
I said try to send him to Chicago as part of the LaVine trade and bring back Bassey, and imagine he buys the Bean. You got to start paying money to go stand next to the Bean.
The Bean was in jail for a while. Do you know that?
No.
They just they were like.
What did it do?
It's opened again, but for like a year, it was just like behind construction.
Just wait. Yeah. Just wait until they unleash PC in Chicago. But I think he's been playing well, and I do think there is at least one team out there that would look at him and go, "Yeah, we'll drop him into our rotation for the cost of nothing." Sure. I
think Detroit is still a perfect team for him.
I think they're a good one.
I think he would slot in really well there. An athletic shooter.
But do they already have like Beasley and Tobias and Hardaway Jr.? Like
we know how the Beasley experiment goes.
No, but that's my thing though. Is like, do they want another not good defender?
Oh, fair. I get what you're saying.
That's what I'm saying there. Like, I think he's good for them offensively. With Ivy out, they could probably use a little more shot creation. I don't know. Maybe they.
One thing he's gotten really good at is that push dribble.
Yeah.
Where he just like dribbles the ball ahead of his defender and beats him to the spot because he knows
that hook off.
Yeah, because he can't actually beat him off the dribble, so he has to like manufacture a way to be able to do it. Like he's perfecting his old man game a little bit.
And I will say he still misses them and flies out of bounds sometimes, but he's blocking shots again.
Yeah, he is still jumping though.
He's still jumping. But Tyler Smith also jumping.
Tyler Smith also jumping, and a guy who should be jumping, you know?
Yes.
But here's my thing about Tyler Smith. Just to say why I put him third. One, roster needs. He is big.
Yeah.
And like worst comes to worst. Like we were talking about Torrey Craig earlier. Like you stick Torrey Craig in front of the basket versus Tyler Smith in front of the basket. Is one worse than the other?
In terms of like rim protection?
Yeah.
I mean, I think Smith has looked a lot better than advertised defensively for most of his time with the Bucks.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he's not a full-time five. I don't even think he's a part-time five. I'm saying, can you rotate to the basket and be a deterrent?
I think
Probably.
Yes. I think yes. Yeah, he is the one. I mean, I know I put MarJon ahead of him, but given the roster needs, to your point, I thought he was the clear biggest riser of all these players in terms of, I no longer am chanting gimme CL if Bob is out or Brooke or Giannis or whoever. Now it's like, all right, let's get Tyler Smith in there for 10 minutes and just see.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just dealing with the roster construction and just his shooting ability. He has a quick trigger. It just needs to get better.
And he's working on his mechanics. So I don't know if it's paid off totally yet, but I'm a believer in. I think he's going to be a shooter one way or another, and I think everything else, like his size, his athleticism at that size, is special. You can't teach that either. Like he has a burst to him that is, I think, remarkable.
I think so too. I think it's crazy that he's a good second round pick.
Yeah, I think he should get some burn. Again, if bigs are out the rest of the year, I'd like to see him get first dibs at it. And then I think next year he could look at just being in the rotation, kind of the way like Ajax. I guess Ajax started his rookie year, but kind of the way it could be similar to Ajax.
Also, am I missing anything? When did he get a second sleeve?
I mean, he's got time.
No, did he?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm not the guy.
You've seen him more than I have. That's what I'm saying.
Not much.
That's fair.
I think I've only caught like one herd game with him. He's been up a fair bit.
Yeah.
He's been up a lot more than AJ Johnson.
Yeah.
All right. Who do you have fourth? So I have Ajax Rollins, MarJon Smith. You have Ajax Rollins, Smith.
And AJ Johnson.
I was going to say, I was wondering because I know you had, I knew that because you said MarJon 6 and you didn't have CL 4th. So, yeah.
But that dude might be a guy.
Yeah.
Legit. He might be a guy.
I was reasonably
If he finished
impressed.
that dunk over Hartenstein, I think I would have put him third.
The thing about that is it had nothing to do with Hartenstein.
It didn't. That's the thing.
On the replay, I was like, oh, Hart disrupted it. HAJ went up like too high and it back rimmed it, but Hart didn't impact the shot. I mean, his presence, I'm sure, mattered in it, but like he got a little too excited and it like came off his hand and hit the back iron. Like that should have been a real poster over.
That should have been like dunk of the year
over a very good defensive center.
It should have been, it should have been one of the dunks of the year. And I think that's just something the Bucks don't have. I don't even think Ajax has that in the sense of like on ball creation to a point, utilizing your explosiveness on ball. Ajax doesn't have that.
No.
AJ Johnson does. He's gotten a lot. Like he's still quick. He's still fast to it. I don't think he's an NBA player yet.
Correct.
I want to be clear on that. I don't think he's an NBA player yet. I think he will be as soon as next year.
Yeah. So if he made that, he would have been 50% from the field. He was 5 for 12, which is not bad against OKC in your biggest game ever.
4 from deep?
He, Smith, and Rollins all had career highs. Yeah, 2 for 4 from deep. And again, some people don't like the way the shot looks. I'm okay with it.
It goes in.
For a player like that, I don't care if he's not he's not a catch and shoot guy.
He's like a Russell Westbrook.
I think because of what he can do on the drive, I think it doesn't need to be like a pretty high efficiency shot. Like I think teams are going to want to cheat off of him, and he already feels comfortable punishing that with the 3. So I don't mind that like the release is low because it's not a main weapon for him. It complements his main weapon, which is him driving and attacking the basket. So that's why I feel like he's already farther along than a lot of players who come in like this, who it's like they need to find the jumper. I think he feels good about his. And he's been having more success with Hurd and Bucks. but 5 for 12 from the field, 2 for 4 from deep, missed one of his 2 free throws, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal, 2 turnovers. Had some really nice defensive contests against, was it Jay Will? Who, by the way, let's put Jay Will on the centers list. Jesus Christ.
My God, that dude was top.
Was that Jay Will or was that Shaq? Oh my God, he looked amazing.
Well, I mean, when you go up against the Bucks with no size, it is easier to do
I don't care. I don't care if that was a Herd game. He looked amazing.
He did.
Incredible. What was his line? 40? Yeah, 40? He was 5 for 9. 3 for 5 from deep. 13 points, 7 rebounds, 3 blocks. Did have 2 turnovers, but he looked. I was like, oh my God, let's get this guy.
Boards.
Get this guy today.
Yeah, I don't think you can, which is really unfortunate.
Uzma and Jang also look good. Again, like their size was just they were able to dominate. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if they want to make any trades.
That's the thing. I don't think OKC does want to make any trades, but with Chet potentially coming back,
yeah, I feel like they're just going to hold,
which is smart. It's what they should do, but I don't.
Marcus was saying they have a Voltron of just like all these guys who play similarly, and I think that's how they're able to.
What a good team! What a really well constructed team.
I mean, they had like 3 guys out.
Honestly.
They didn't miss a beat. Yeah, it's annoying. Who are we? Oh, AJ. Yeah, I thought really impressive game from him. I think he has taken a step, I would say, since the early Herd games of. He was a shot chucker early, and you would see like he wouldn't play as much and he'd get up like 15 shots. I feel like he's already found a much better balance of like picking his spots versus trying to create for others. He still has he had a really bad, overly telegraphed turnover where he damn near just handed it to a Thunder player trying to pass in midair. He is still a rookie. He's still, because of the time in Australia, kind of putting him off ball and barely playing him. He just needs the reps, but I think you can already see progress in just playing a bunch with the Herd. And the tools he has are special tools that you can't teach. Like he's a big guard. He told me he wants to.
Has he gotten taller?
He might have. I mean,
that dude looks like he's 6'7" out there.
I don't think he's that tall, but I think he's 6'4" plus.
Well, he's listed at 6'5", but he doesn't look 6'5".
Yeah, he's 6'5" plus. The athleticism is crazy at that age for that size. Like he can still get up, and again, he almost absolutely posted the hell out of Isaiah Hartenstein. And the shot is going in, even if it's not pretty. I'm okay with the way the shot looks. I just think he's getting there. I agree with you. It's not this year, but part of it is not this year. It's just because you have Dame and you feel good about Rollins. Like I had him 5th, but only because a lot of it's positional and just like we've seen, like MarJon is just like a boring floor. I didn't think he looked worse than MarJon in this game though, so I'm kind of reconsidering my order now.
And that's the thing. Like here was my reason for putting him above MarJon. Like
yeah, it's just
you can see with him, even though he's playing well, like in that game, like he's playing relatively well for his first like what was the stat from Lisa? His career high was like 4 minutes in a game. And he played 30 like prior to tonight.
Oh, AJ, you mean? Yeah.
Yeah, AJ Johnson.
I thought you meant MarJon. I was like, what?
No.
I'm misremembering.
But it's like he's playing at par with MarJon, we can say.
Yeah.
But you can still see there's like levels to this. Like there's so much untapped potential there that I just don't.
I'm changing my list. I'm moving MarJon down 2.
Ooh. Okay, so what's your
talked me into it. Ajax, Rollins, Smith, Johnson, MarJon, CL. Okay. We'll get to CL. I have CL last. You have the last 2 flipped. But now we have the same tiers.
Yes.
So the guys in the rotation, the rookies, and then the other guys, basically.
Yeah. But like AJ Johnson, you just see him play and it's like, oh my God, there's so much there. It's like you're tantalized by how much he could do out there. Every time he touches the ball and like starts to like move, you're like, he could do anything. He could literally do anything. He has a nice little behind the back floating dribble that I really like. Like just sort of lets him hang there and freeze his defender. I really like that. So it's like he is like a triple threat already, which is crazy. Like you see him get the ball at the top and he's come dribbling up the court. He could either one, just absolutely blow past his defender and get to the rim with ease. Is he going to finish or not? That's a question.
So told me he's working on the layups and working on the floater to kind of diversify what he can do when he gets past the guy, because he can get past the guy.
That's the thing. Like, yeah, exactly. Like, he'll get past the guy. What he does there is still yet to be seen. He could sort of just like take a screen, operate a screen and roll like that. He can like pull up for a nice little mid-range. He can pull up for three. He can make some nice reads. He can make some nice passes. Like, he can literally do anything you want out there. Yeah. Like, he has the potential to be like this. I might sound crazy out here, but he has the potential to be one of the most dynamic guards in the league.
I agree. And he wants to be a great defender too. And I think I think he's still figuring out what he can do on that end and how to best utilize his athleticism. He does not, to me right now, track as like a play-to-play disruptive defender. I'm hopeful he can get there because I think he has the tools to do it. You
know what I think he could be? This is like best case scenario.
What?
He could be a taller defensive Tyrese Maxey.
Oh yeah, I like that comp. Yeah, that's obviously, best in the best case, but I think that is not. I think that is feasible.
Yeah, it's not impossible, right? Which is insane.
I really think the more I look at this draft class, I mean, people gave him whatever grades at the time. I'm sure
we
people
did.
I didn't hate it actually at the time.
I did.
I hated it night of. I hated it night of, but I think when we looked at it, we got it. I think this is going to go down as a potentially like. I don't want to say dynasty because if they won one,
it could be a franchise-changing pick.
It could be a Giannis era extending draft total, not just AJ, both of them. Because I do think these are two players who should pair really nicely with Giannis as he ages.
Yeah, like a dynamic. Imagine Ajax, but he was like a dynamic creator and could score.
Yeah. Imagine Bledsoe if he could do things offensively.
He's bigger than Bledsoe.
Yeah, but I mean, if he's ever as good of a defender as Prime Bledsoe, it's a knockout pick.
I'm saying, imagine if he's Drew, but Dame offensively.
Okay, let's rein it in. That's the GOAT. That's MJ. So let's not get too carried away. With that shot release, he's never going to be Dame offensively.
Okay, how about this? Could he be? I said this earlier. Could he be Russell Westbrook? Maybe not as good as Russell Westbrook. That dude's a first ballot.
No, but yeah, because Russ even came in as like able to just like body players physically in a way.
He's not as strong.
Yeah, I don't think he'll ever be as strong. I think you hit it with the tall Maxey, and now you're going overboard.
Okay, I'll stick with tall Maxey.
Stick with tall Maxey, and if we have to update it, we will.
Because tall Max, I think he's kind of a blend because I don't think he can be as good. He can be, but I don't think he will be as good as Tyrese Maxey offensively. But I think he'll make up for it. Are you ready
to call him Russ or Dame?
He'll make up for it on the defensive end. I'm coming back down to earth. Okay.
Okay. That's just, you got to Drew's defense and Dame's offense, which is like
just the greatest player.
Just Michael Jordan. He could just be Michael Jordan, I guess.
No, Michael Jordan couldn't shoot. From distance.
Let's not. It's a different league then. It's we can.
I mean,
tall Maxey.
I mean, he was in that era where there was a 3-point line and he didn't do very well.
Yeah, but no one used it though.
I'm not saying anything related to the era. I'm saying an actual fact.
I know, but it's not. It's like
didn't that dude enter the 3-point contest and come last?
Probably when guys were taking 1 3 per game.
But I'm saying even relative to his competition, he wasn't good.
I think his percentages were okay.
I don't think so.
For that era, I'm pretty sure.
Talk about Chris Livingston.
Yeah, I had him last, so we kind of talked about MarJon. I felt like the good was kind of there. I was sort of encouraged by his first half, and then he kind of lost me in the second half. And a lot of it, I think the lateral quickness
32%
for that era is not bad.
On 1.7 attempts per game.
Exactly.
His career high was 50%. Oh, wait, that was only for a 17-game stretch.
Yeah.
That was when he came back.
Yeah.
Prior to that, he was shooting 49%. Oh, wait, that's field goal. I can't. Not great. How about that? Okay, sorry. Talk about CM. I'm wrong. Okay?
I think maybe I was. I don't know. The lateral quickness thing is what it is. I see him as more of a 4 or 5 at this point, so I'm not as worried. And he had a couple of nice defensive possessions in the first half that encouraged me. Like, he rotated over and walled off Shea a couple of times, which I thought looked really good. So it's like, he's not a guy who you're going to put on Shea to start, but if he can rotate over as a big, that's big for him. But the rebounding was okay, but not great. He had 6 in 26.5 minutes. Most of his buckets felt like they were on either putbacks or dump offs. So again, like he's doing some of the 4 or 5 stuff. He had 2 steals. Like that's fine. The shot looked really bad.
Didn't look good.
It was so flat. He was throwing up bricks. He missed all 4 of them. For his G League season, he's down to 29% with the Herd on the exact same volume he was last year when he shot 37%. And that was a lot of the reason for the optimism. Like the Bucks just need bigs. They need one of these guys to play if Bob is going to continue to be out regardless. But I think it should be Smith now because as much as we talk about like, you could use an athletic center, an athletic player, maybe even not a spacer, CL's not a rim protector. He's got to be more of like that, I think, PJ Tucker kind of mold if he's going to be an NBA player. And even though he didn't do it often, PJ could shoot. And I think if you didn't trust PJ to shoot at all, I'm just not, then you're getting into like ground bound Ajax, which I'm really not that interested in.
I think we're overhyping PJ's shot a little bit.
I mean, it was like high 30% every year.
On like less than an attempt a game or something.
Yeah, but I still think that's meaningful. And I think PJ was also a better perimeter defender.
Yes, no, without a doubt. PJ Tucker was an incredible basketball player.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not here to try to tarnish the legacy of PJ Tucker, Bucks legend.
Still an active player. Well, we can define active.
Well, technically not.
I don't think he's been waived yet.
Was he not?
They waived Bamba. They said they're going to buy out PJ. I don't think they have.
Oh, yet. You're right.
36% on 2.7 threes per game career for PJ. It's not a lot, but it's. I think that I think if he didn't shoot them at all, he would not have this career at all.
Yeah, no, I think the thing with CL is it's just you got to be good at something.
Yeah, I really wanted to see double-digit rebounds here.
That's the thing. That's what I was really hoping for. I was like, can you go out there and can you be a glass cleaner? Can you just go out there and gobble up rebounds? And here's the, he wasn't like a bad rebounder. Like he wasn't getting beat for offensive rebounds. Like rebounds are more of a team stat than an individual stat. We know this. But he still left a lot to be desired. He was jumping up there. He was being physical, trying to get loose balls and stuff like that. So maybe we aren't giving him enough credit for that because focusing on the individual stat rather than the team stat. But he still left a lot to be desired out there. When I watched him out there, like in a big stretch, I tweeted before the game, unironically, this is a Chris Livingston legacy game because I don't know when he's going to get an opportunity like this again.
Yeah.
I don't. Probably this season when they rest guys, but maybe not. Like, who knows?
Yeah.
Like you only have a certain amount of opportunities to go out there and prove that you belong in an NBA court against a very good team, a real NBA team in the Oklahoma City Thunder. And he didn't rise to the occasion. He really didn't. Like, even like Tyler Smith, here's the thing. I wanted Chris Livingston, even though the percentages were not good. He was 0 for 4 from 3, 4 of 10 from the field, right? At least with Tyler Smith, even though the percentages were bad, we thought he looked good out there just by the way he was getting his shots, the way his shot looked. It doesn't matter that it didn't go in. The process was good, right?
Yeah.
That's why we were happy with Tyler Smith. But with Chris Livingston, I didn't like the process.
Yeah. Offensively, it just felt like there wasn't really anything for him. I mean, unless he was getting an offensive rebound putback or like a dump off right under the rim with space, like he wasn't like finishing a lot of contested stuff around the rim either. It was kind of like he could finish if the rim was wide open to him. Like that's a pretty limited offensive skill set.
Yeah. He's not used to playing against NBA size. And
if he was 6'11", maybe that's enough. Like if he was 6'11" with his physical traits, like, okay, now you're talking about, not Time Lord good, but that kind of player where it's like he can get up and protect the rim, but he's not. And I know he growed a little bit. I think he's like, 6'8", 6'9" now, but I just think if the 3-ball fell or if he could have made more of an impact, I thought he had some nice moments defensively, some nice moments rebounding, and it's hard competition. I didn't think his highs were very high, and the lows of his shot were.
He's got good hands, though. I'll say that.
He has much better hands around the rim than Smith. That was one thing where he could field those dump offs and try to flush them home.
And defensive hands when guys would go to try to drive on him. Like he knows he's not going to be able to who was it? Was it Ken or
Monroe?
Was it Ken?
Oh, yeah.
Was it Kenny Hustle? Where it's like Kenny Hustle's going to finish over CL.
Tied him up.
Because he's an experienced veteran NBA player. Like,
Yeah, and big. I think quicker. Yeah.
Yeah, and just stronger. Maybe not stronger, actually.
I don't think he's stronger.
Yeah, maybe
I
not
think he's
stronger.
quicker.
But like when he's going to the basket, he's a veteran guy. You know he's going to be crafty and get to the basket. He knows he's not going to really be able to contest like a running high layup. So he immediately goes for the ball and like just ties him up. And like I was like, yeah, that's good. That's really good. Like you have some defensive presence. I like that. Like I'm not totally out on CL. Like I want that to be clear. I need him to be good at, like, you need to be really good at something. Like Tyler Smith, he's a good spacer. Theoretically.
Yeah, and just like he's also just athletic and bigger.
Yeah, like he can be like a rim deterrent.
Yeah.
AJ Johnson has on-ball creation juice. Can just go out there. He can dunk on anyone he wants. That evidently we learned that.
Yeah.
With like, I'm not even talking about Ajax and Ryan Rollins, but like we see with AJ Johnson and Tyler Smith, like you can go out there and you can bring something of value to the court.
Right.
What is that with CL?
Yeah, I don't think he painted a clear enough picture of like that's a productive winning player who can help.
Yeah, which is really unfortunate. We're two people who are really high on him. Yeah.
No, yeah, it was a bummer to see, and again, I don't think he looked awful. Like 4 of 6 from 2 is good. Like he was efficient scoring around the basket. Like we would want him to try and take threes, but just the way he looked shooting, like he didn't look confident shooting. The form wasn't good, and that just really matters. You know, as an undersized big, like you either need to be scoring everything around the rim. You need to be a great passer. Maybe he had no assists. I thought he had maybe like one good pass that didn't get paid off, but not enough stood out. Like defensively had moments, but other times like it looked like the size did hinder him or the foot speed hindered him. So I just worry there's like, it's a lot of negatives that, to your point, you need some glaring positives, some bright positives to overcome. And we just didn't get that in this. It's one game. Again, we're not done on him forever, but it was not a good showcase. I think Tyler Smith gained ground on him.
He's 20 years old?
Yeah, I think so.
Like, there's still so much time. Like,
yeah.
I still think he's a valuable person
21.
to keep. 21?
21 in October, yeah.
Okay, so he's a relatively fresh 21. Like, I still think he's someone you should keep on the roster. Like,
yeah.
Like, at least see what you got for another year.
He's probably like, he might be more on the bubble than we think.
He might be, but I still think he's valuable to keep.
Yeah.
But here's the thing with Chris Livingston. I'm trying to think of like, who's someone he could model his game after?
PJ Tucker.
PJ Tucker. I don't think he doesn't play like PJ though.
Doesn't he?
I don't think so.
Because he tries to do more like physical.
He tries to be more of a big.
Randall offensively.
Yeah, like I'm trying to think of who could he be like, and these guys just aren't in the league. Like Kenneth Faried, he's not in the league. Like there's no guy like that in the league anymore. Randall is a more like, I know,
way better offensive player.
Yes.
No, I just like I just mean not in total game, but like the rumbling to the rim kind of player. Randall does that.
But the thing, Randall is an actual polished NBA like offensive player. That's an all NBA level player. I know Randall is not good per se. I mean, he's good, like relatively. He's one of the best basketball players on the planet, clearly. But like, I don't think CL has the skill set to ever get to where Randall is offensively.
No. I'm not. I didn't mean like player for player. I'm just thinking of like the big guys that rumble offensively. There's not a ton anymore.
No, there really isn't. Like you have to be like these undersized bigs who are really doing that. Like Yabu is at least like ridiculously thick and can finish.
So you're saying CL needs to put on some poundage?
Yeah. Have you seen Yabu?
I think he's got to work on the jumper.
He's taken the title from Lowry. He has.
I think I don't. We're toward the end of the pod. I'm trying to not get sidetracked on which player's got the thickest body. I still think he should try to be more like Tucker. Like I just like learn to finish when there's space, but like that corner three, I think he's just going to have to be there. So I just don't think he's going to be quick enough to be the undersized. I mean, like he's not that much shorter than like Bam. Again, I'm not making a comp here, but he doesn't have the quickness or the athleticism to be Bam defensively, or just the instincts,
passing skills.
Or I mean, again, yeah. I think with the player he is right now, he's got to be a 4 or 5 who's like sort of switchable, but more of a rotating defender. And I just think he's going to have to knock down 3. Like, I don't think his driving is good enough at this level. At the G League, sometimes he can dominate, but against real NBA size, like, I don't think he's going to be able to just get to the rim against 4s and finish over them, much less 5s.
No, you need to be a big who plays smaller.
Yeah, or at least be able to.
Like, PJ was a starting 2 guard. Like,
yeah. He became a 4 with the way the league went.
But, like, he was starting a 2 guard for the Bucks when they won the title.
I mean, you can't even put positions on what they were doing.
No, that's true. But he was, like, starting out possessions in the finals on Devin Booker.
Yeah.
Like, that's a 2 guard.
But also on KD.
Yes.
They were a weird team.
No, and that's the thing with PJ. You have to be versatile. That's what made him so, like, good for this team and what they've been searching for ever since.
Yeah.
Is just that versatility. Can you be a guy who can chase around guys on the perimeter who are shooters? And can you also defend, like, these bigger guys and get physical with them?
Yeah, that's why I don't know if it's more weight for CL, because I think if he could improve his lateral quickness at all, that would be a huge help.
I think it's lateral quickness. I think it's agility. I think it's like your hands.
Because I think he's got good defensive instincts, but just sometimes he gets outsped.
Yeah, you got to be more in tune with who you are.
But we're talking about a lot of things now.
Yeah, we are, aren't we? So
that's why he's last for me.
Yeah, that's why he's 5th for me, because maybe he is last.
Again, we were high on him, but it wasn't a good showing.
Maybe MarJon is 5th. Maybe we end up with the same list.
We always do.
Well, we've both made concessions here and there.
Yeah.
We've whittled it down to a final list based on our interpretation. They were not the
only correct list.
Yeah, they weren't. It wasn't your original starting list. It wasn't my original starting list.
The top was Ajax and Rollins, just clearly. Both had good moments, even though they weren't perfect. You wouldn't expect perfection in Oklahoma City against at least part of the real Thunder. I mean, no Chet, no Caruso, and no J-Dub.
J-Dub, sorry. Wow. J-Will was there.
J-Will might be better. But still, a really good deep team. So they had good games. Smith and A.J. Johnson, the rookies, who they showed us enough to be excited about, even partially this year. I mean, less so A.J. Johnson, but really next year. But this year, potentially for Smith. I think if Bob is out Wednesday, Smith should be getting some burn with Giannis.
Yeah.
Or Brooke, I guess.
Wednesday might be the last time we see that roster together.
I mean, if even then. It's 9, not even 10 a.m. Tuesday. Anything could happen by a game on Wednesday.
That's true.
Teams were moving their flights away from being during the deadline on Thursday, and the Bucks could have been one of them. I mean, this was a Chris Haynes report, so always a decent chance the Bucks are involved on the Chris Haynes report.
Because they play Wednesday against the Hornets.
Yep.
In Charlotte, and then they play Friday against the Hawks in Atlanta. So there is a chance they would be traveling during that time.
I think it's most likely they would travel between to not have to, or maybe night of, but
yeah, you would either do Wednesday after the game or you would do Thursday afternoon.
Yeah. So we'll see. But then MarJon and CL in the last tier, because neither of them showed us enough, even though we've had stock on them before and we've been excited about them before. Neither of them look like they're ready to, like, I wouldn't be excited about seeing either in the rotation right now. I mean, CL over no one would be good, but.
Yeah, at least CL's big.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. It's like lowest.
3 inches taller than MarJon?
Yeah, maybe it's not too much. It's like the lowest stakes version of that Cars meme where it's like the new car is just speeding past.
Oh, yeah.
But it's like the absolute lowest stakes version. like, oh no, AJ Johnson and Tyler Smith overtook MarJon and CL in play.
I will say, I mean, we talked about, like, I think we were like, oh, we over-indexing Summer League. And we probably were with Ajax. But Rollins being a real thing kind of started there and has continued since. Yeah. So we obviously don't want to over-index one game.
It's easier to see that with a lead guard, though.
Yeah.
Like, Ajax is not a guy who's built for summer league.
I mean, it was great to see him look good in this format.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's what we mentioned up top is like, it's good to see him be good in this sort of setting because it is a summer league-ish setting, and it's like, oh, can you be like an actual starting guard? Because you are. Yeah. Like, you are a starting guard. Can you act like it?
Like it or not.
Like it or not, you've been here for like 40 games now, or 30 games, however long it's been.
You're not leaving unless they trade for Jimmy Butler. Maybe not even then. I would hope then, but we'll see.
I mean, would you start him over TP?
I would start AJ Green.
Yeah.
I think you'd need that spacing.
Yeah, you need that shooting.
Maybe there's a new center too. Who knows? We shall see. Final deadline prediction.
I don't think they
not
trade.
Who they get. Who do the Bucks move?
I think they move Bob and Pat.
Maybe DeLon and or MarJon.
Okay. How about out of Bob or Pat? I think they move Bob.
Oh, I think Pat's more likely.
Because of the second apron?
No, just because of like the big shortage they have.
Yeah, but I'm assuming if you trade Bobby, you get a big.
Probably.
Maybe it is Pat. I think it is Pat.
I think it's likely they move both. I think it's most likely. Well, it's hard to say 4 total players at the deadline moving is most likely because that's a lot. But the guy, I think Bobby, Pat, MarJon, and Wright.
Yeah, here's the thing. I think DeLon Wright is the most likely person.
Yeah. He's got to go.
He's got to be out of there.
That's got to be Rollins' spot.
He's like, I'm sorry to DeLon
Good
Wright.
Defensive moments, can pass, whatever. Afraid of the basketball. I'm just not interested in watching.
He blocked Shea?
Yeah, that was nice.
Was Shea trying?
He came back and airballed a 3 right after.
Yeah, he really did, didn't he?
It's like, oh, that's a good moment. Can he knock down? Oh, no, it wasn't even close.
Yeah, so that's my prediction. DeLon Wright is the most likely to be moved. But yeah.
I'll be disappointed if it's just like they just dumped DeLon and signed Rollins and that's it.
No, this is a team that needs an upgrade.
They need some real additions. So
we should have something on Thursday for you guys. Yeah. We'll at least have a Bleacher Report stream. So if you don't know, Thursdays in the BR app, 4 p.m. Central, Ty and I have our own dedicated slot that we've been doing for the last month. And we'll continue to do throughout the year. Yeah. So catch us on there. So we'll be talking all things trade deadline. The trade deadline will have passed. And we should have something up on the pod feed as well.
Yeah, we'll figure that out. But we are going to be coming to you that afternoon, post-deadline sometime with content. The Bleacher Report, I think there's going to be more as well. We're figuring out exactly what we want to do. And who knows, again, if the Bucks make some big deal today or tomorrow, we'll be back sooner than that too. It all depends how the deadline shakes out. But yeah, excited to continue covering this and see, what roster the Bucks are going to be going toward, hopefully, their first playoff run with Dame and Giannis on the court with.
Would be great, honestly. I'd love to see I'd love to see Dame and Giannis play a playoff game together. Wouldn't that be great?
Nice. Wouldn't
that be awesome? Hey, how about this? Dame, Giannis, and Khris. Let's see what they can do.
That would be great.
Who knows? We might not get that though.
Yes. We'll find out in 2 days. 2 days and a few hours.
Hey, you know what? Who knows? Anthony Edwards might be on this team. Who knows what's going to happen? Like,
you make a call.
The starting center might be Nikola Jokic. Like, who knows what's going to happen?
Is there enough room in San Antonio for Fox and Wemby? We shall see.
I know. It's like you get Fox, Wemby to the Bucks. Who knows what's going to happen?
It's going to be nasty.
Harrison Barnes, is he the next Wemby?
Oh,
I went too far.
Just like AJ Johnson.
Yep. But thank you for listening to this episode of the Eurostep here on Blue Wire and GSPN, presented by our incredible perfect friends over at Prize Picks. Make sure you subscribe wherever you're listening to this podcast or watching on YouTube. Check out gspn.info for GSPN Premium, all that good stuff. Pod Random. We'll talk to you next time.